Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. So it's hump day, middle of the week. We're almost halfway through it, or more than halfway through it now, I guess. Hopefully this is going live. My little laptop that I have in front of me is having issues, so I'm restarting it. So I don't know if I'm actually live or not. So let me know if you guys can hear me, see this in the comments. I will be able to see that. But what do we got on the plate today? Marathon provided the production update. I was thinking that Cleanspark and IREN would provide theirs. They haven't yet, so we'll probably get that tomorrow, I'm guessing. And then we'll just take a look at Bitcoin, what's going on with Bitcoin. It's battling with the 61,000 support resistance line, I guess. And then miners were actually up a little bit today as well. We'll talk about all that. And then we'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things as well, okay? So it should be pretty easy, and you know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And then full disclosure down below that. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had a kind of wild swing today on the day. It started out, let's go to the hourly chart so we can see this. We started out, let's see here, Tuesday, Wednesday, where's Wednesday? There it is, Wednesday, okay. So we started above the, like right around the 61,000 mark. We went up a little bit here to about 62,000 or so. We came back down below our support line, 61,000. We went as low as 60,518. We went back up to a high of approximately 62,380, and then we went all the way back down to a low of 59,969. We went back up, and now we're battling again with our resistance support line at 61,000. So that's kind of interesting there as well. We can see that RSI on the 1 hour chart did bottom out here when we wicked down, and then we actually went up on the RSI, wicked back down to almost the same level, but the RSI was higher at that point in the 1 hour chart. If we look at the 4 hour chart here, we can see that the RSI also bottomed out here. This was on Tuesday, but it's continuing to go down. So 57,000, I think, might be in play here, based on just what I'm seeing here on the 1 hour, 4 hour, and the daily charts as well. We could be looking at a retracement back down to 57, and then we maybe bounce throughout the rest of October. When that will happen, I don't know exactly. We might actually go back up. Wouldn't surprise me either, but that's kind of what we're looking at here. If we do go down, we're going down to 57,000 here in the next couple of days, potentially. But I would think that might be the end of where we go down, possibly. Time will tell, right? Okay, as far as the miners were concerned today, the miners are actually up today, surprisingly, right? Bitcoin had a wild day, and a lot of the miners were actually up today. ANY was actually only down 2%. Argo was down about 1 3/4. BitDigital was up 1 1/4. BitDeer was down just 4.14. Bitfarms was flat on the day. 0. Cypher was up nicely today, 7.5. I didn't see any news from them. Surprised that they had a nice gain today. I think it's maybe because they were down a couple days here, 1, 2, 3 days down. So this may be just a bounce here a little bit that we're seeing on it. Cleanspark was up 2% as well, just a little bit here. So it's bouncing off of this retracement level of 0.236 and Fibonacci retracement. Then we got CORZ being up 2% as well. It's bouncing a little bit as well. Digihost was down 5%. DMG was up 2.6. Hive was up 4.7. HUT was up 3.6. IREN was up just a little bit here, 0.9. Marathon was up also just 0.9. Mawson was up 4.3. Riot was up 2.4. Stronghold was down 0.6. And Wolf was up 0.6. So quite a few miners in the green, and then some were in the red. Kind of mixed day a little bit. We'll have to see what the rest of the week holds for us. And we're still early in October, so things can be rather fluid and dynamic. And we might have these price swings in it until we get more into October, right? We're still planning on having a nice October, above possibly 10% gains, if not higher than that as well. And then going into November, which November is also typically a pretty good month for us. But time will tell. All right, so that's it on that. We can see here that so far in October, we're down about 3.99%, about 4% on the month so far. We started out that way in September as well, where we were down for the month. And then we ended up in the green here. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing to play out, but we'll see. All right. Next here, the only story that we do have here is from Marathon, or Mara now. Mara announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for September. And here's what we got. So management commentary. In September, the strength of our globally diversified operations was evident, and as we achieved significant uptime and increased our energized hash rate to 36.9 exahash, reflecting 5% growth from August. So this is good. They're still on track to get to the 50 exahash by the end of the year. And this was a comment from Fred Thiel here. And then we remain on track to reach our target of 50 exahash by the end of 2024. So that's good. They're operating much better this year than they did in the years past. So that's good. Our team continues to quickly energize our own sites and operate them more efficiently than originally planned, right? So that's good. The conversion of our Granbury data center from air-cooled to Mawson immersion containers is progressing on time, and we expect the work to be completed before the end of the year, before year-end. So that's also good there. That should give them, they should be able to possibly boost some of those machines there to a higher clock rate, overclock them basically. We'll see how much gains they get from that if they reported it at all. Going down here to the operational side of things here, number of blocks 1 was 207 here. This is from Mara Pool only. That does not include the JVs that they're a part of. Bitcoin produced was 705, so nice increase from the 673 that they had in August. And then average BTC production per day was 23.5 compared to 21.7, so that's good also. Let's see here. Share of available miner rewards was 5.2% compared to 4.8 on that one. And then energized hash rate was 36.9, so that's up from the 35.2% as well. So that's also a nice increase there. And their HODL did increase as well. So as of September 30th, 2024, the company held a total of 26,842 unrestricted BTC. Mara opted not to sell any BTC in September. It looks like they actually bought some more. So when we look at the data that I have for them, we'll cover that. And let's get into Marathon here really quick. So here's my sheet on them as of today. Shares outstanding roughly is about 294 million. Stock price 1521. That gives them about 4.4, almost 4.5 billion market cap right now. They have the highest market cap out of all the miners. Almost double from some of these guys. The performance of the last 12 weeks has been actually pretty good, right? They're up, well, they were down 14% from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 1.5. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 23%. And from 1 week ago, they're up 11.26%. So things are looking pretty good here on Marathon right now. Current hash rate 36.9. Future hash rate, what is that? I need to update that probably. I did update some things here on this one. Yeah, I need to bring this one down a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now it should be back up to the 50. Future hash rate 57. Why is, okay. What is going on here? Let's see, 57. Oh, I need to subtract the 34,000. I forgot to do that. Sorry. Delete that. Okay, so I need to delete 99,315 equals this minus that, and we get 64,815. Okay, 64,815, because I did take out some of the older machines that they had and added some of the newer ones that they're getting in to get them to the 50 exahash here, which is what I believe is the plan. And that gets us to 50 exahash. Okay, so we're good there. So they have about 13.5 exahash left to install. Their Bitcoin HODL is now at 26,842. That's valued at 1.6 billion as of today as well. Their HODL to market cap is 36.17. That is pretty high. I think that's the highest out of all the miners right now. Okay, Bitcoin self-mined has been kind of, I'm only tracking for their Mara pool numbers. I pulled those numbers in today, and that came in at 657. So that is up from August, so that's good there. And it is above where July was as well at 646. So they are kind of increasing that as well. So that's good to see there. They increased that by about 27.95 BTC in the month, which is good. Their revenues here have kind of flatlined a little bit more or less. If you look over the last couple of months, going back to May, after the halving event, they've been kind of in the high 30s. They even got to 40 million here, but they're slowly, it looks like maybe increasing that back up, especially as Bitcoin goes up in value. That's definitely going to jump for them in October numbers. And then Bitcoin HODL here, you can see that they had purchased a bunch of Bitcoin in August. They purchased, it looks like, 192 based on my numbers that I could figure out on them. So they're at 26,842 right now. HODL, huge HODL position, the most out of all the miners here. And then hash rate difference, we can see that hash rate has been increasing as well, which is good. And I need to probably update this chart to get it above 30 exahash here. So let's see here if we can do that really quick as well. Format that, if I can think about it. Where is it at? Chart. Oh, that's serious, not that one. I wanted to look at this. There we go. Axis, 30,000, make this up to 50,000. That'll be 50 exahash. There we go. Okay, that chart looks a little bit better. So continuation on the growth, which is good to see there. And they also increased by about 1.7 exahash here from the prior month as well. So that's looking good. Bitcoin sold, like I said, looks like they added more. They bought some more. I'm not a big fan of that. Companies buying and diluting shares to do that. We'll see. Maybe it works out for them. Maybe I'm wrong about my opinions on it. And then their BTC per exahash efficiency here was at 17.82, so it's actually down a little bit from 17.89 in August. But that's with the network hash rate going up as well. That's a contributing factor to it. And Bitcoin sold value, they didn't sell anything. It looks like they purchased 11.59 million roughly of BTC, maybe somewhere around there, depending when they got it in. I'm using the average price for Bitcoin in September. Okay, we'll get into some of these here in a second. Here, looking at institutions and analysts ratings here. Institutions did increase by 3 to 508. Shares did decrease a little bit here by about 600-some thousand, roughly 271 million and 20,000. Percentage owned went down to 58.48. But we still have the 3 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 5 hold ratings, 1 underperform rating, 0 sell ratings, and the price target stayed the same for the high at 27. The average went down a little bit here to 20.44, and the low stayed the same at $12 on that one. Based on the numbers that I have for them and what they actually mined here, I'm estimating that they mined for approximately 24.85 days out of the month here, compared to last month of 24.6. So that is an improvement nonetheless. So that's pretty good there. I'd like to see them get closer to the, closer to like 28, 29 days. I think that would be great based on my numbers on that one. Okay. Now, where do they stand in my numbers and things like that as far as being overvalued, undervalued, or fairly valued? Well, I think they're still undervalued right now. Based on the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, excuse me, I think they're undervalued. I'm in between $17.98, so roughly $18 and like $27. At $15.21, they are undervalued, just like a lot of miners are right now because of the market the way it is right now, actually. If we look at the last month's numbers for revenue times 12 months, I get in between 16 and 18 cents to 24 and 27. That still leads me to believe that they are still undervalued, especially if Bitcoin starts going up higher. They're going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue. The only thing is they have, what do they own? About 55% of their infrastructure right now. Maybe a little bit more than that. That is good. That's a good improvement that they did this basically this past year or so. Compared to where they were a year ago, where they were just asset light, they didn't own anything except for the miners. But this definitely helps them out. It still puts them up probably as one of the higher cost per Bitcoin when it comes to things, because they're paying a little bit more with the mix that they have of self-owned and hosted machines as well. But it is better though. So that's a good sign there. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Pretty easy day today. We'll probably get a lot more busier tomorrow. I'm guessing with all the miners, not all the miners, but the rest of the miners providing some information here tomorrow and into Friday as well. If we get a lot on Friday, I may do a live stream on Friday as well. If we don't, we'll do that on Sunday as well. Okay, but that's it. As you guys know, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. Link is in the description as always on that one. And you guys know the pricing on it as well. I'm not going to go over it. I'm not going to waste your guys' time doing that. So let's get into the Q&A side of things here. See what you guys have any questions on or things like that. And we'll make it maybe a quick day today on things like this. All right, so here's a Q&A. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay. All right, where am I at here? Trying to catch up on some of the comments here. Let's see. Mark says, high or low, we are Moon Boys season. So I think so too. Let's see. Para says, everyone's bearish. LMAO. The COPE will be even more legendary than 15,000 to 70,000. Yeah, I would hope so. Let's see, what is the price target for Mara, Cleanspark, CORZ, and IREN, and MicroStrategy for this bull run? Depending where Bitcoin goes, much, much higher. Cleanspark, I have in between $60 and $70. CORZ, probably in the 30s, I'm guessing, somewhere on there. IREN also between like $70 and $80 maybe. And MicroStrategy, I'm not sure. I don't really follow them, so it's going to be a little bit tough. I think they should at least follow Bitcoin by a 2x. So Bitcoin goes 2x, they should at least do like a 4x potentially on average. Let's see, Mark Sebring says, isn't 37 exahash for Mara higher than any one end-of-year exahash goal? Yeah, I think so. I think Cleanspark's planning to get to 37 exahash potentially, but they have also machines up to get to 50 exahash. They might surprise us there. We don't know. But yeah, everybody else should be, I think, who else? Riot is targeting 37 exahash, I think, somewhere around there, 36, maybe 37. But yeah, Mara getting to 50 exahash is they are the king right now, if they can get there, which I think they can. See, John Kurt says we need over 70,000 Bitcoin now for miners to make profits. No, I think they're making profits. It's just low profits right now. Okay. Thoughts on Cypher. Seems to be one of the top miners. Growth 2025 seems outstanding. Can this hit $30 a share next year? Depending when they energize and get things operational in 2025. If they can do it like in the better first part of the year, I think that'll bound more that will be a better optic for them, I think, and stock itself. And then also if they get maybe a HPCI play there, that could also help out tremendously. Food and Fun says IREN is making a huge profit right now. Yeah, they're down to, they're pretty low joules per terahash right now. Was it like 16, 18, somewhere around there? So yeah, that should be really good. Mark Sweden says they are selling cash to buy BTC. The 192 isn't going to be from dilution. Thanks. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, you might be right on that. But 192 Bitcoin, that's a lot of cash that they would have to do that from. So that would be, yeah, I'm trying to think of how much that would be. 192. Let's do the math here really quick. Let me pull my calculator on my phone. Calculator, 192 times, just do 62,000. That's 11.9 million. I mean, are they generating that much in revenue from CAS? That would be a lot. Okay. Can IREN take Cleanspark in market cap? I don't know. That might be tough. IREN doesn't own anything as far as HODL is concerned. HODL does play a little bit into this as well. And Cleanspark is still targeting to get a higher hash rate by the end of the year than IREN is. So they have to take that into consideration as well. Okay, Brandon Stiers. How about 75 to 80% of my portfolio in IREN and Cleanspark have about 20-25% left, all in Bitfarms or split between Bitfarms and Cypher? I would split it, probably, because you never know with Cypher. Cypher could get a HPCI deal and the pump just goes crazy. So I would split it. Okay, do you think Cleanspark will be down for a while since the floods in Georgia? No, I think they're targeting to have things be online. That's at least what they reported. When was it? Yes, Monday. Monday is when they reported that things should be back online to, what did they say at that point? 28, 29 exahash? I can't remember exactly. Let's see here. Seb, are you from the future? No. That'd be nice to be from the future. See where things get by a certain date. That'd be nice. Let's see here. When is Jason interviewing with McNally? I believe it's tomorrow. Brian, need to do better. Yeah, I keep saying that. We'll see what they come up with for September numbers. So would you convert Riot into Cleanspark or IREN? I'm down 50%. If you're down right now 50%, so Riot is an interesting one. They need to improve their operational uptime much more so than anybody else. If they can do that, I think the stock will start to tick back up, right, quite nicely. But that's with that happening. If it doesn't happen, then I think the investors are going to be kind of where they are right now, kind of frustrated with things. So that's tough. So if they can do that, I would say dollar cost average into it if you have a high conviction in it. I never got into Riot because of their operations, unfortunately. But if they fix their operations, then there might be some buying opportunity there, I think, because they are way undervalued. If we look at their numbers here for enterprise value, and I'm starting to lose my voice here for some reason. Excuse me about that. That IREN I wanted to take a look at here. Let's look at the enterprise metrics here as of today. And I like to look at this all the time. But we can see that, let's see here, Riot, right now for current hash rate, they're valued at 53 million. They're, second to Hive only. Hive is at 43 million. If you look at going forward, then you got Cleanspark being the most undervalued here, 30 million for the hash rate that they're going to be getting installed. Riot number 2 spot here at 31 million. So I would expect these guys, as long as Riot can fix their uptime and operate at much higher uptime, then I would expect them to be much higher going forward, especially as Bitcoin starts going up higher as well. So that's a tough one. I do think that they are way undervalued right now from where they possibly should be, but that's based on their poor performance and operational uptime. Okay. All right, let's get back here. Okay. Talked about that. Let's see. Okay. If BTC only gets to 80,000 by end of year, will the sell pressure be as strong as McNally thinks if Bitcoin gets to 100,000? No. I don't think so. Well, we're going to see some sell pressure nonetheless in December, right? December is usually the time frame when institutions, hedge funds, mom and pop shops sell their profits if they're in profits, and we might see a sell pressure towards like this week before to maybe 2 weeks before the end of the year. We might see that, but I don't think we're going to get to only 80,000. 80,000 would be kind of low, I think, in price appreciation from here. Let's see here. Hank says, I think Cleanspark is 100% operational already. That would be great. Let's see. Thoughts on Cleanspark stock dilution? Will it drop further? The dilution or the stock price? Again, if we talk about the dilution here, you guys are probably referencing the 300 million that they're adding into their coffers. Right, the 300 million is not dilution right away. It's going to be used down the road to use for ATMs and things like that. But like I've said this before, in the last 3 years, they used up 200 million, and look where they've come from basically being like the smallest miner, 100 petahash, January of 2021, to now being the second largest here. So it has been accretive to investors, I think. And with that, I think the next 300 million is not going to be used up in the next 3 years or 4 years. I think it's going to be like more 5 to 7 years potentially. So I'm okay with it. Okay. Now, how come Bitfarms is not moving at all? Is it due to Riot? Every analyst has Bitfarms as one of the top performers, but this is not doing anything. Yeah, I think it's partially, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's partially because of Riot still kind of on their coattails a little bit. Riot still owns 19.99% of the shares there. And they do have a special meeting coming up as well. That might be it. Also could be because of they're behind schedule on where they wanted to be with exahash. And that is a result because of the Antminers T21s. Those were faulty. They had to replace them, send them back, get new ones. And it seems like those have been delayed in shipments. Or, some are, I wouldn't say lost in shipment, but they're delayed. So we need to see that as well. We need to see them get good growth here going into basically October, November, and December as well to get to 21 exahash by the end of the year. And then they're also targeting to get to like 42 exahash next year. So there's still a lot of growth there. Okay, let's see here. Bitfarms needs to show some growth. Yeah, I agree with you, Hank, completely. Yeah, we need to see that happening, and we need to see that happening pretty quickly here because we're down to 3 months left in the year, and they're at 11 something exahash right now. So basically 10 exahash needs to be installed within the next 3 months. Mark says, CAS miners have roughly 95% profitability for Mara. With BTC dipping in September, CAS was flat, so selling the built-up CAS over the previous months, it makes sense for... Okay, so you're saying about the prior months. Okay, then yeah, that would make sense. Jig says, thanks for all the info and keeping people updated. Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's see. Is your opinion about miners not diluting to buy BTC because their stock performs better than BTC in bull run? Hold on, I have to reread that. Is your opinion about miners they're diluting to buy BTC because their stock performs better than BTC in the bull run? Yeah, their stock performs better. That's why if I wanted to buy a stock that has BTC, I'd buy MicroStrategy, to be honest. The miners, they should be able to mine Bitcoin at a much lower cost than what the market is basically offering it at, right? If the market's at 62,000, 61,000, they should be able to mine it right around 30 to 40,000 per Bitcoin and still have that upside there. So that's why I'm not a big fan of it. Mark says, definitely going to see profit taken in December. Huge sell off last year around this time. Yeah, saw that too. That's kind of what I'm thinking, that we might see the same thing. Okay. Craig says, grandma's homemade kielbasa and assorted pierogies for dinner. Nice. And that's basically Polish dinner there. Can Cleanspark 10x from here? Not unless Bitcoin goes to like 250,000, I think. Right now, I'm thinking somewhere around 60 to 70,000. This probably would still be like where's Cleanspark at today? At 8. So I would say maybe a 7, 8x possibly at the higher end if Bitcoin goes to like 180,000. But yeah, to 10x, we would need Bitcoin to be above 200,000, 250,000, somewhere around there. Okay. What's your guess on the bottom for BTC before we start moving upwards for October? I'm thinking, looking at the numbers that we have here, the charts, the supports, and everything else on Bitcoin. Let me pull this up. To be honest, I'm thinking that we might dip back down to like 57,000 mark if this 61,000 doesn't hold. If that doesn't hold, then we might be coming down, bounce from there, and then we would go back up. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but we'll see. We did come down here 3 times to the 53,000 mark. We went once, twice, but we only had like a wick down to it. Same thing here. We had a wick. We had like a support here at 53.9 or something like that, where they kind of stopped here and bounced off of that. This time it just kind of bounced off of it completely. So that's kind of what I would think might happen if we don't hold here. But I'm thinking 57,000 might be the support line here before we bounce further. Time will tell. Okay, Gary says 2023 everyone had huge profits on miners. In 2024 most miners are down big, so tougher to take profits when there are none. If we look at the 52-week numbers, as of depending when you bought into it, right? So it all depends on when you got into it. I think that will also dictate whether or not you're in profit or not. But when we look at some of the miners that are in for the last 52 weeks here, let me go back to this screen here. Let's take a look at the weekly here. So this is the 52-week lows. From the 52-week lows, the miners are actually up. So depending when you bought in, I mean, you got TeraWolf being up huge here, Core up huge, IREN also, Bitdeer, Cleanspark have outperformed Bitcoin. So those guys have done really well. I mean, even Bitfarms, Marathon, Hut 8, those guys are all pretty up here right now in the last 52 weeks. So basically going back to last year, this time frame as well. So depending when you got in, yes, you could be in profits or you could be at a loss. If you bought in at the peaks from where the miners were just a couple months ago, then yeah, you might be in the red still. So you might not be taking profits at that point. Okay, there's that. Let's see here. So are you planning to get into any other sectors than crypto? When it comes to investing, I'll probably just put this, once I get out of crypto and Bitcoin miners for the bear market potentially, I'll probably put everything into like the S&P 500, let that ride. Maybe not everything. I still want to get into real estate a little bit, diversify a little bit more going forward, have some additional income coming in monthly and things like that. But we'll see. Let's see. John says, Mara sold no Bitcoin. No, they didn't sell anything. It looks like they bought some, and like some are saying, they bought it with the Caspa coins that they were mining. So it might be a case there, yeah. See, who's more undervalued right now, in your opinion, Cleanspark or IREN? Who will get to 50 exahash first? I believe Cleanspark will get there first on that one, and I think Cleanspark right now is a little bit more undervalued than IREN is. Did you buy more IREN and Bitfarms, and are you planning on buying more? I do want to buy more. My wife threw in a little curve to me yesterday, the day before, that she wants to go to Disney World with the kids during Thanksgiving. So I got to see if I can have the cash for it. We're also planning on going to my home country, Poland, next year as well for a wedding. That's going to be costly, so I got to see if I can scrounge up the money. If I can't scrounge up the money, I'm going to invest more, right? Because it's going to be a lot. Then I got to pay property taxes, all this other stuff. It's just like tens of thousands of dollars that I would have to scrounge up. So it might be tough. But if we're not going to do the Disney World vacation, then I'll probably buy some more. Okay. Hey, Seb, what makes you believe that Bitfarms could hit their 21 target when they couldn't improve a bit since June? Let's say they energize all the miners that is being sent to SDIG. Is that too extra? 10,000 miners, yeah, that would be around 2 exahash. So that gets them to 13. And then they have what, 1.5 exahash of the T21s that are supposed to come in as well. So that gets them to, what would they get them to about? So it's 13.5 roughly. So that would get them to 15. Yeah, I think they can do it. Ben has been saying all along that a lot of their growth is going to be in the fourth quarter, especially towards like November, December timeframe, as stuff in Paraguay gets built out and the other things get done. So I still think that it's possible for them. Okay, Hank says, the longer they keep miners down, the more I buy on every opportunity. That's the best strategy to do, I think. Continue dollar cost averaging if you can, as long as the miners are down. Eventually, Bitcoin will rip. Let's see. Do you have a plan? Do you have any plan B if the miners don't go up? Well, I'm still up on Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN. More so on Cleanspark than the other ones. So I could possibly take those profits and then Yeah, I mean, it would be enough to pay off my debt that I have for school, maybe pay off my car, things like that. Maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah, it wouldn't be as substantive of a figure if things went up to where I think they're going to go. But we'll see. Okay, LTD Launch Services says, currently in CORZ, Bitfarms, Mara, and Riot, add Clean or IREN if slump continues or next dip when I have cash. I would get both, to be honest. Both are growing really well. Both have great operations. Both have been doing really well. I just don't know which one's going to outperform the other one right now. Like I said before, all it takes is just one good news story from one of these guys, and they rock it. So I like both of them. Let's see here. Mike Alfred posted a cycle high for IREN of $20 or higher. Struck me as odd since he posted 51 week earlier. He's a board member, and maybe he should not be posting every thought that he has. Yeah, I don't know what the ramifications there are for being a board member, what you can and can't do, so I'm not the one to comment on that. But if he posted 20, is he saying 20 before the end of the year, and then, possibly 50 or so by the end of the bull run? Maybe that's what he's thinking. Okay. Seb, which miner can be high risk, high reward as if at this moment? Gosh, I mean, you're probably looking at the smaller miners there. You're probably looking at like Sato Technologies or Soluna, Griffin as well, right? Those types of plays there. Digihost, DMG as well. I don't think they're probably a little bit more less risk than the other ones. But then I wouldn't get into like Argo or what's the other one? Sphere 3D. I wouldn't get into those. Those, they're going to have a hard time, I think, staying afloat. Okay, Gary Pallet says, Mike Alfred listed 3 miners who would hit 20. He didn't say 20 would be a peak for IREN, just it would be one of the 3 minimally hitting. Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Sarah Mellingham says, my wife is expensive too. Yeah, but they do so much for us, though. It's okay. They're very, very, very worth it. Let's see. Gary Alfred posted too much for the board members. Post too much for the board members. Just my opinion, of course. Yeah. When do you expect BTBT to top out Q3? That's kind of what we're expecting. If you look at the power law, if you guys have looked at that at all, that one is showing that at like March it might be the top, which would be interesting because I did not expect that. I would expect Bitcoin to top sometime in like Q3, at the latest of Q4 next year. Okay. Should the miners diversify into HPC? Gosh, that's a tough one. Because right now, the only 2 miners that really have a substantive deals is BitDigital. That's getting contracts with a customer there for almost 100 million there. They're working on another one that's potentially like 700 million in total over several years. And then you also have CORZ, which I think is the best deal so far that we've seen out of all the miners with CoreWeave, is several $1 billion over the next 12 years. So if a miner can do something like that, that would be great. Otherwise, I think hyperscalers are not going to be looking to go to bed with these miners. They're going to be looking to either buy out their infrastructure or segments of their infrastructure, maybe not the whole thing, or they're going to buy out the whole company and just scrap Bitcoin mining in general and do whatever they need to do with data centers and things like that if they can do that. A couple companies that would not be, at least my thinking is on this, would not be in like the sites of some of these hyperscalers would be like Cleanspark. Cleanspark has a lot of facilities, but they're smaller, between 10 and 50 megawatts. They have a couple, I think, that are 200 megawatts. But so maybe those 200 megawatt sites, maybe. But the other ones are like IREN, Cypher, TeraWolf, right, where they have sites that are over 300 megawatts, 500 megawatts, even close to a gigawatt and beyond. So those would be more appealing, I think, to the hyperscalers than the rest. But that's just kind of my thoughts on it. Okay. What could be the risk of IREN and Israel war? I think it's going to be headline news for the next week or so, but eventually I think it's going to fade. And maybe they can come to terms on something. I don't know. That's been going on for decades now with, you get a spark, ignite something, and you get all this conflict happening, and then you have this kind of peace for a while where things are calm, and then you get the spark again. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen this time around, but we'll see. Gary Ballard says people always complain about Alfred. Not sure why. If his posting bothers people, they don't just block him. Yeah, I mean, they can definitely do that. I like it, Mike. I think he has a lot of good insight into the industry. We know that he's also biased. Some could say I'm also biased, but I'm biased on the data that I have for the miners. He's biased on the companies that he works for, which is great. I like IREN, right? I'm invested in IREN as well. So maybe that's the part of it there. I don't know, but I like Mike. Let's see. Hey, Sub IREN has much more potential than Cleanspark, Mara, or Riot. If you talk about HPC and their megawatts going forward, potentially yes, but that's not going to be down the road until 2016, or not 2016, 2026, 2027 potentially, time frame, 2028 even maybe. In order to build that out, it's going to take time, right? And we're looking at this current cycle that we're in, which is the next possibly 12 months. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the next 4 years, I'm looking at the next year. Okay, let's see here. Soluna is a solid play and good concept, but micro cap risky. Yes. Okay, Emmy says, I'm frustrated. When will the miners pump, specifically Riot? It's been so long. For Riot, yeah, Riot has had a rough year here. They're basically the worst performer out of all these stocks that I cover here. Yeah, but I think we're going to start pumping here shortly. Give it time. Let's see, Soluna recently popped on my radar. Great concept, large pipeline available, but still micro. Yeah, yep. They've been doing a lot better. I covered them probably 2 years ago now. For a while there, until they stopped providing monthly updates because they got into financial trouble there a little bit, but the new CEO has been doing a much better job there. Let's see. AI and data center demand for mining companies will impact miner performance in terms of returns. Yeah, if they can get a good customer there or something like that, yeah, it could possibly be a big positive for them. What's your price target for Bitfarms? For me, it's somewhere between $15 and $20 right now. If they show that they can grow to like the 42 exahash sometime next year, we're talking about like within the first half of the year. If they can do that, then I could possibly increase their price targets going forward. Okay, let's see here. Do you think Riot curtailed in September, or will they show improvement in mining? Jason has said in the past that they don't have to curtail. So it's interesting that they do it so much. Yeah. If we take his word, when he had the interview with Bryce and Anthony, this is going back probably a couple of months back now, he said that once Corsicana is online, their operations should be there around 95% of the time, uptime. So we need to see much better operational uptime here in September, October, November, December, all those cooler months, because I understand they got to curtail a bit more in the summer months because people are using ACs, right, all that stuff. So okay, that's fine, but we need to see much better operational uptime in the cooler months. Thoughts on miners being up while Bitcoin is down today. Are we front running the October? Could be, right? But not all the miners were up today. Majority of them were, yes, but there were 4 or 5 miners that were still in the red. But yeah, that could be it. Okay. Mark says, LOL, Mike is obviously a bias, but I don't see why people get mad at it. Yeah, I mean, he basically tells you up front that he's a, excuse me, a board member at this company. So you got to take that, obviously, as it is. The facts will be facts. The results will be results. Sept provides data to guess the best future value. Due diligence, folks. Absolutely. Yeah. Chris says, Riot is king. I hope you're right. I know IREN is a scam. I don't think IREN is a scam, but yeah. Let's see here. Question, will it be a good idea to sell all miner at the open and buy back lower considering the war will escalate? Thanks. That I don't know. To be honest, I do not know that. I've gotten burned in the past doing that. This is going back probably several years now, 4 or 5 years. So I don't do that. I just buy the stocks that I have high conviction in. If they go down, I buy more. That's kind of what I do. So that's definitely be your call. Okay. Hey, Seb, why didn't you cover September monthly update yesterday? DGHI? Digihost is one of the smaller miners. I do those guys like once a month. So once all those guys report, I'll do an update on Digihost as well. Okay. Let's see. Sorry if I missed, but according to your info, is Riot still unavailable? Yeah, it is. Okay. Bitfarms to $15 to $20. Is that being conservative or moderate? Conservative on it. I think the thinking behind this is because I think Bitfarms should be at least 2x from where it is right now to be fairly valued. So that would get us to $4. And I think if Bitcoin goes up to where I think it might go up, we should see them, if they get another 5x on top of that, that would get them around $20, right? And that's pretty conservative, I think. Okay. Gary says there was a new picture on X today of new miners arriving at Childress. I didn't think IREN was getting next shipment of new miners until November and December. Good news if post is accurate. Yeah, I think they were saying that they were getting more shipments in October, November, and December. So they're doing great here. Okay, which miners have the lowest cost energy per Bitcoin mined? And do you agree with Ben Kenyon that lower cost of energy is more important than efficiency of basic miners? I think it's twofold. If you can have both, that's all the better, right? But yes, if you can have low energy cost, if you're like down in like 2 something cents all in on electricity, then yeah, I mean, you're doing much better. So if you have a efficiency on your machines at 30 joules per terahash, the other miner that's like at 4 cents or 5 cents would need this to be as profitable. I believe that would be like 15 joules per terahash at that point. So yes, there is a benefit to having the lowest cost of energy. And then as far as which have the lowest cost of energy cost, right now it's I believe TeraWolf, Cypher, which have the lowest. Those guys are like at almost 2 something 3 cents all in, blended. And then who else would have to be that? Cypher. IREN, I think, is going to be up there as well. And then you're getting into like Bitfarms, Hive, Cleanspark, all those other guys, Riot as well. Riot has pretty low cost if you include their curtailment, the credits that they get for curtailing. If you include that, they're pretty low as well. So there's quite a few miners that are still pretty low. Let's see. BitX, 2x leverage ETF or Cleanspark, which will perform better from now until BTC hits 70,000 later this month? If you're talking about only 70,000, then maybe BitX might perform a little bit better because we're not that far away from 70,000. So I would say maybe BitX might perform better. Okay. Okay, and we expect same returns like last bull run as last bull run, they were more than 10x. I don't expect, unless Bitcoin really goes up much higher, like I said, to like 200,000, 250,000, even like 300,000, then yes, we could see those types of returns. But remember, from the bottom last time, Mara went up like 70x or something like that. It was like 7,000% increase from the bottom that they, right after the heavy event to the bull run, they were like 70x. I don't expect that this time around. On these guys, but maybe if you look at from where they were bottom out at to where they actually get to, it might be like a 20 some x. That's on some of these guys here. Okay. Dink says, I hate that I own so much Riot. If you have high conviction in them, buy more. Let's see. In 2020, they cut rates severely in March, but it looks at least 6 months before. 6 more months of BTC and to pump. We sort of know we are getting a cut in November. More cuts equals blast off. Yeah, we're going to get it cut in November and possibly in December as well, right? They're talking about 50 basis points here, possibly 75. So we should see a pump there as well. Okay. Do you see yourself buying Mara at all in the near future or higher conviction in other miners? I have higher conviction in other miners. I could be wrong on this, right? Mara has the name recognition. They've been around for well, not the longest. But they have the name recognition, I think. If you search Bitcoin miners, like Google or Bing or wherever you search, Mara is like usually the top one that pops up all the time. Okay. See, Mark says, sadly, the Sebs will never buy Mara, LOL. I do hope he wins big, though. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, and I look at it as the data that I have on the miners, which ones are performing the best. which have been growing the most. Cost is also important, right? Mara still has a little bit higher cost than like Cleanspark, IREN, as far as Bitcoin production and things like that. So that's why I kind of look at it. They might do very well because they own a bunch of Bitcoin, right? So if they get rated on that, that's going to be pretty good for them, I think, as well. Can Cypher outperform IREN and Bitfarms? That would depend. Again, depending when they actually get installed, when they build out the infrastructure and get the hash rate installed there, and can they get an HPC business as well into it? If that happens, then yes. It's a potential. Chris says, Riot will report tomorrow big numbers incoming. I hope you're right. I'd love to see them improve their operational uptime. Okay. Do you think Riot crosses $18 at BTC 74,000 since the price last time when BTC touched? No. If Bitcoin gets to 74,000, Riot might get to, where's Riot right now? Let me take a look at it really quick. Riot is at $7. We could see them at around 12, maybe $10 to $12, maybe, if we get good updates from them for September with operational uptime. Hold on, I gotta clear my throat here. Okay, hopefully you guys didn't hear that. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Talked about that. Okay. Okay, what else we got here? What was Mara's cost to mine BTC on average lately? If I'm not mistaken, I think they aren't profiting right now with the current BTC price. I have an estimated number for them. I don't know if it's, let me see, where is it at? Nope. Where's my break-even numbers? There they are. This is based on Q2 numbers, so we're going back 3 months, right? So I don't know exactly where they are right now. But the estimate back then, I had them at Bitcoin roughly because of their overhead for staff, everything else like that. I'm at 76,000 Bitcoin price to break even at that point, plus or minus 10%, give or take. So that's kind of where I had them at that point. But that was an estimated number based on the numbers we had from the quarterly results on it, right? Let's see, quarterly expense came in at 57 million for them. That did I include the stock-based compensation in that? Okay, so I took that out eventually later on that one. Energy expense was 87 million as well for the quarter. So things will probably be different. They should be better this quarter, and that should decrease their cost per Bitcoin or the break-even price for overall the company going forward as well. As they install more miners, more efficient miners as well, and got their operations to be a much better uptime, that should help out. So I would expect them to be probably lower than like 65, maybe even 60,000 right now, possibly. But we'll see when the numbers come out for Q3 numbers on it. Okay. Okay, let's see. If Mara liquidates at peak, it would be set to maintain dominance, in my opinion. Liquidate, you mean like Bitcoin? Yeah, if they do that, but historically they haven't done that, unfortunately. They continue to hodl all the time. Let's see here. Mara may have the name recognition, but they only rank 7th miner in Miner Madness picks. Yeah, I saw the video. That was a good video. And puts a lot of pressure on me for what Anthony and Bryce said. So I hope my numbers come in. Otherwise, I'm going to be maybe way off. We'll see. Let's see, meaning few top miners investors are picking them to be a top 3 performer in the next 3 months. Yeah, I mean, depending on how much, I mean, we have, what, maybe several thousand people that watch what I do and the mining mafia and what Anthony does and all that stuff. And how much of that gets translated into actual buying of these miners. So I don't know. We'll see. Based on the best run company, what miner would you choose if you had to pick only one? God, that would be tough. It would be a toss-up between, I think, Cleanspark and IREN right now, historically, right? Bitfarms has had issues in the past. That's why I probably wouldn't include them in there. But historically, I would say the Cleanspark and IRENs of the world would be the ones that I would go with. The only thing that might make me maybe lean towards Cleanspark more is they have a nice hodl. That might have an impact. Time will tell. But then IREN has also a potential HPCI business. If they get that, they could also skyrocket. So it's tough. Okay. He says, last month, Riot mined 322 BTC. If Riot shows September numbers for BTC at 450 BTC, would that lead to a 20-30% pump for Riot, even if BTC is at the same price? Oh, excuse me. That would be a nice increase for sure, but what could they actually mine for the month? Let's take a look at that. Let's run some numbers on Riot here. See what they could actually mine here with what they have installed as of at least, where is it at? There it is. Okay, let's go back here. So for September, if they operated at close to 95% uptime, so let's just say they operated for 28 days out of the month, right? Let's do that. 28 days for the month. That gets us to approximately 28 million. 28 million, let's see here, equals that divided by, let's just do 62,000 on average, I think is the Bitcoin price, roughly. That gets us to 461 BTC. So could they actually get there? That's going to be the question, right? The question of the moment is how much more hash rate did they install here, and what was their uptime for it as well? Yeah, we'll just leave that at 20 for right now. I'll get this updated when they report anyways. But you can see that for August, I had them about 18 days. So that's really, really poor performance on them. But 461, and you said, what did you say? You said it was possibly 450. So it's pretty close estimates to what you had. And then would that pump 20-30%? That I don't know. I think maybe we need to see another month of that type of operational. If not increase BTC production as well into the next month, then maybe, yeah, then maybe we would see that. Okay. Okay. LTD says Riot was best bounce of this tip in my opinion. Was or is? Hasn't really bounced too much. Let's see, is Riot's lower uptime the result of poor management or environmental limitations for their mining locations? It's a couple of things. They have two locations, Rockdale and Corsicana. Corsicana, they don't have a PPA in place with the electricity provided there, so they should be able to operate much more uptime or have higher uptime there. With Rockdale, I think they have 375 megawatts PPA. Anything they use above that, they pay at the prevailing prices of whatever the electricity cost is at that point. They also have the 4 CPA, which is the 4 times of the year where they have to curtail in order to keep the prices down because of high demand and things like that. Then they also get credits for the electricity. So they look at it as if we curtail and the price of electricity is higher, we are going to get more for it. But that's also, you're betting on Bitcoin being flat or Bitcoin not going up. So there's a lot of things that go into play, and it's not an easy feat to do. But with Corsicana, I would expect them to be operating at much higher uptime because they don't have a PPA in place. It's just basically, can you actually mine more Bitcoin at the price that makes sense compared to curtailing and getting credits at that point? And Jason has said in the past, right, they should be operating at about 95% uptime. So I'm holding him to his words on that. That's kind of what I want to see on average over the year. Let's see, would you buy Ethereum? I do own Ethereum right now. I own a couple of Ethereum. I'm just holding on to those. I'll probably hold on to Ethereum and Bitcoin. The rest I'm going to be selling this cycle. Okay. Hank says Miner Madness picks were Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms, so kind of like what I had actually. Yeah, those came in. A lot of people had that actually. Okay. People feeling bearish should realize we have more big green weekly candles than red. Yeah. And also need to realize that when Bitcoin starts ripping up higher, it's a couple weeks, a couple days to a couple weeks of just, a couple of days where we have 8-10% growth. And people are going to kind of miss out on that if they, try to be a little too cute with the market. Okay. Let's see. Dank says, lately I felt like Jason Les has been making off with my money and buying Lambos and jets to Vegas. Would be great for us ride holders to have a day. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the share-based compensation they had Q1, Q2. That was a lot, I'll be honest. Wasn't a fan of that. Okay. Let's see. Number 7 miner. That is just embarrassing assessment, but the results will speak for themselves. Who's number 7? Did I miss something? I might have missed something. Okay. Can you see a scenario with Mara buying Bit Digital for their HPC or trying to at least riot them like they've tried to Bitfarms? Oh, man. What would Marathon be getting for that if they were to do that? Bit Digital right now does not have any infrastructure, right? They're asset light, kind of like Marathon was in the beginning. They only have the contracts in place that they are dealing with third parties to host those servers there. So you're basically buying just the contracts there. So no, I don't think that they would, based on that alone. Let's see. Could you please explain what happens to BTFM shareholders and share price if they successfully proceed with their offer in November? Will it be beneficial for the talking about Bitfarms, or I'm not sure what BTFM is. But if it's Bitfarms, yes, they do have a shareholder meeting in November. I think it's November 20th now. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Going off memory, but that's to have a vote on adding an additional board member to the board. So there'll be 6 board members now, and possibly getting another Riot's board members onto it as well. I think that's what the vote is for there. Would you lose conviction in BTC and all the miners BTC somehow surprisingly ends flat, dare I say, down by the end of the year? Yeah, then this would be a definitely different cycle than we've had in the past. Historically, this is when Bitcoin usually shines, is in like the next 3 months. If it's flat and we're at 62, 63,000, maybe even 65,000 by the end of the year, then yes, this is a different cycle. It could be a cycle where it is more of an extended cycle, which at that point, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But if it's an extended cycle where we go up for like 3 years, and by the end of 3 years, we only get to like 150, 180, or 180,000, 200,000, or something like that, then that's going to be tough. We'll have to reevaluate things at that point. Okay, let's see here. If IREN sold their new 1.4 gigawatt site to a hyperscaler, what do you think it is worth, as sites that big probably are no longer available? If you look at like the prevailing pricing that you're seeing on some of the hyperscalers, not hyperscalers, but the people that are in HPC AI, right? Per megawatt, they're getting valued between, what am I seeing? Between 15 and 30 million per megawatt. Okay, that's per megawatt. That's a lot. So let's do the math here on this. Let's just go with the average of 15 million per megawatt, somewhere around there, right? On the lower end side of things. So you got 1,400 basically megawatts times 15 million. What does that get us to? 15 million. Well, that would be 21 billion potentially if somebody was to pay that, but they're not going to pay that because it's basically a dirt field with potential to get those megawatts. So let's just say, what if they pay only 3 million per megawatt? Okay, let's go back here. 3 million. That gets us to, that's still 4.2 billion. That seems a lot, right? So if they were to sell that 1.4, they could get a pretty penny for it potentially, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get 3-4 billion for it. The company's not even worth that much right now. Okay. Can a miner go down from here? I want to buy some more Cleanspark, I guess, IREN, or should I wait for BTC to go down to around 57,000? Right, that's kind of a gamble. Will it go down? Maybe. Do we know it's going to go down? We don't know. So in that instance, I would just say dollar cost average in a little bit here, dollar cost average in a little bit more when it goes down potentially. That's kind of what I would do. That's kind of what I've been doing actually. Let's see. How do you come up with a $30 price target for CORZ? Just seeing where they are right now. The reason for that is if we do have a peak in Bitcoin sometime next year, right? They're probably not going to be start generating revenue from the HPCI business until maybe towards the end of the first half, maybe even somewhere between there. And then also, we know that they have a plan with Block to purchase 15 exahash of their miners right now. don't know when those are going to get installed. So it's tough for me to really see where they could be valued at based on with some unknowns. So I'm just saying conservatively at $30, they could be up higher than that as well. Okay. Would you be surprised if Riot market cap is the highest versus all the miners this year, I'm guessing, or versus the other miners? Yeah, I would be surprised, to be honest. They would have to be operating at a much, much higher level than they are right now. Okay. Gary Powell says, Mara is the second worst performing miner in 2024. I think the results have already spoken for themselves. They can't compete with more efficient miners on a cost per coin, and they had a first mover lead. Yeah, I would agree with that statement. Oh, excuse me. If IREN isn't involved with HPC other than mining, what is the remainder of their business? Let's see, if IREN isn't involved with HPC other than mining, what is it? That I don't know. They do have, I mean, they were working with Poolside for a while. Poolside was, praising them for their equipment and things like that. So they do have a lot of things going for them. It's just, can they get a HPC customer there that's going to be good for them in the long run? Time will tell. Okay. See, Mark says, Gary, I have to disagree. Absolutely. If your sole metric was efficiency, then for sure. But you can have 105% efficiency and only mine 100 BTC a month. It won't matter. Scale is going to be the key. I mean, yeah, there's more than just looking at the efficiency of a miner. What is their uptime, right? That's also important. You could have huge hash rate, but if your uptime is there, and then also what is your cost to mine as well? Those all things have to be considered. What is the SG&A cost like as well? All those things really go into it. There's a lot that really have to be tracked. Okay. HG says, bought more Bitfarms today. Nice. Anytime now, anytime. Yeah. We've been saying that for quite a while, but we're getting close. Okay. Why would Riot's 20% position Bitfarms and interest in buyout for a premium over share price way down the share price of Bitfarms? Because they came in at a low ball offer of $2.30 back in early summer. So that's kind of why. Yes, they do own a large portion of the shares there, 19%, almost 20% actually. So we just don't know if Riot will eventually start selling as well. If they start selling 20% of the shares there, that's going to bring the stock down. So I think that's why it's having an effect on it right now. Okay, let's see. Covered that one already. What else we got here? Okay, I think we're catching up here. Let's see. LTD says, CORZ moves at a phase pace and best beat deadlines. I'm holding till 40 bull run. Be damned. Yeah, they've done a fantastic job here getting out of bankruptcy this year. So I got to give it to Adam Sullivan. He is, a mastermind. He's done a great job. Can't take anything from him or the company there. They've done really, really well here. All right, I think I've caught up to all your guys' questions here. It's just now you guys are talking with Chris here about Riot. I do appreciate Chris's conviction in Riot. I got to say, he's got one of the highest convictions I have seen from anybody, I think, even from myself on some of these miners. So kudos to you, Chris, on that one. You definitely have conviction. And what if Chris is actually Jason? I'm just kidding. If it is Jason, hi, Jason. What else we had here? Okay, and what metric is Mara better than IREN? In the mining space, I think IREN is better in every area Seb just mentioned. Yes. The only one that they're not better at is HODL and size. I mean, Mara's got them beat on size as far as exahash and HODL right now. Let's see. Chris likes Bitfarms because Riot is lagging behind. That's why they bought Bitfarms shares. Okay. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm not able to pronounce your name, Chris. I'm down 50% in Riot. Yeah, maybe if you have conviction in it, put dollar cost averaging more into it. I was down in some of these guys when I was buying into Bitfarms, Cleanspark. I was down on Bitfarms, I think like 75, 80% at one point, and I was still buying into it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't, but I had conviction in it, right? And I saw good things happening for them going forward. Same thing with Cleanspark. Cleanspark, I was down, I think 65, 70% at one point, and I just continued to buy into it because I didn't know where the bottom was going to be on these guys, and it's worked out pretty well. I didn't pick the bottom perfectly. I got in probably 12 months early, actually, but I wanted to get to the miners, and I didn't know where the bottom was going to be, so I continued buying. Let's see. Benjamin says Riot's purpose is to own Bitfarms, so they wouldn't sell Bitfarms shares in the bull market. So for them, it's kind of a double win. If they buy Bitfarms, that's great, and if the stock price of Bitfarms also goes up with the amount of shares that they have on it, they're gonna look pretty on that side as well. Let's see. Jakey says, Jason Dominator. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Okay, only 50%. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with Mark says, exactly. Size and HODL and exahash. BTC appreciates in value. Huge gains. IREN 0. HODL 0 benefit from BTC appreciation. Yeah, there's something to be said about that as well, right? Okay. And then Chris says, Sebastian, I'm going to Poland next June to enjoy the wedding. I will be in Krakow. Nice. I'm going to be on the east portion of Poland, towards the close to the Ukraine border, possibly, for that one. I'm going to be only for a week. We're flying in somewhere in the middle of the week. At least the plan is, and then we'll be out next week in the middle of the week as well. Just going there for the weekend, basically. Let's see. BTC will be 250 easy because this time it's institutional, as last time it was mainly retail. What's your opinion? Also, from January 2025, all institutions will be able to hold 2 to 3% in their balance sheet. Okay. That might be the case. Yes, there's more institutional play involved. If you look at the power law, it's said about 150,000, maybe. It could go up, right? That's kind of like the average where it could possibly be. So yes, I'm thinking Bitcoin goes to 180. If we go above that, that's just gravy at that point. That's just golden. So yeah, that would be great. Okay. Oh, Bryce is here. When did you add the giraffe? I added the giraffe over the weekend. That's Molly back there. Molly's been with us since my first son was born. So she's been around with us for about 12 years now. I just don't have the heart to get rid of her. She's been in my oldest son's room, in my youngest son's room, and now she's down here in the basement with me. Getting a little bit of a ambiance, I guess you could say. Let's see. Mark says, even Seb thinks IREN should hollow during the bull cycle. I think there's a benefit to hollowing during a bull cycle. Yeah, I do. Okay. Brian says, love the giraffe. Yeah, she's a cutie. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Hey, also, Bryce, if you're still watching, the video you guys did today on the miner, what did you guys call that? I can't remember what you guys called it now. But people betting on the miners as far as where they're going to go. I think my BTC price was the highest, 113. So I'm kind of in a lot of pressure here to have Bitcoin go up that nicely. Hopefully it does. I think we'll do very well at that point. But the video was great. I thought you guys did a great job on it. Okay. Let's see. Victor C says, question, I agree with HODL all regardless if they strike back. Not sure what that is. Strike back, or you mean sell it maybe? That's kind of what I'm saying. If you HODL during the bull run, you should be able to sell towards the peak. Use that money then to grow in the bear market. That's kind of what I would like to see. And we've seen that with Cleanspark. We haven't really seen it with other miners. Yeah, Gary mentions it here. Let's remember Cleanspark was the only miner to profit on HODL last bull run, bought and sold for half at bottom. Yeah. Carol says, Sebastian, you are awesome, and I enjoy your channel, and I appreciate how you treat everyone. I appreciate that. Thank you. Right? I treat everybody like I would want to be treated. So And that's regardless of race, color, anything like that. If you treat me well, I will treat you as well also. But thank you. Let's see what else we have here. What is price production of BTC, Bitfarms, Hive, IREN, and oh gosh, I don't know. No, we could maybe try and guesstimate on that one. But that might be tough. Price production. So what would their cost to mine be then at that point? That's going to be tough. We could get close to it when they report their Q3 results. Ichi says, maybe institutions hold down BTC until January until they are in. Maybe. Hank says, thanks, Sebastian. You're very welcome, Hank, as always. Great show. Cheers. I'm guessing you're going to bed here. What time is it? 10 o'clock. Yeah, I got to finish this up here shortly. Mark said, you are the man. Have a good night. Thank you. You too. What else? Does it make sense to convert IREN to Cleanspark at current price points? No, I would hold, if you can buy Cleanspark additionally into it, but I would hold IREN. Miner Madness. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's great. That's a great concept. It's fun. And it's going to be fun to see how things play out in the next 3 months. So thanks for doing that. You guys are the best there. What else we got here? Okay, after the bull run, where do you project the pullback to be? Do we stay at 100,000? I personally think we will see more stability in future cycles. I do think so too on that side of things, but if we get to this year, by the end of this year, if we get to, say, like 100,000, 115,000, whatever it might be, right? If we get somewhere around there, I think we're going to see peak before the end of the year, and then we might see a pullback like the last 2 weeks of December potentially. At least we saw that last year, so I'm expecting that to maybe happen this year as well. And then after that, it's going to be interesting. We might come down to, 85, 80,000, something like that, before we start going back up higher into next year, 2025. We're going to have a lull probably in the summertime as well, like we've done in the past, if it plays out like the previous cycles, and then start rocketing back up in like Q3 again, Q3 and Q4. So that's kind of what I would expect. Victor says, sorry, I meant I will hold all miners regardless if Israel strikes back and if Bitcoin dips. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. If we get more of a dip in the miners or in Bitcoin, I'm not buying Bitcoin, but I'm going to be buying more miners. I'll buy some more on that one. So I'm with you on it. And I think it's going to be, definitely in the front of all the newspapers and televisions and everything like that for the next couple of weeks. I'm saying maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and then after that, it's going to quiet down. But we'll see what happens with that. I hope just the people that are in charge, use a little common sense, smarten up a little bit. Life is precious. It's just ridiculous. I guess IREN was 40,000 cost per coin in Q3, 34 in Q4, and 30 at end of Q4. Yeah, it's been coming down because they're getting more efficient miners, which they're getting to scale now, which means it offsets their costs for SG&A and everything else. So yes. Let's see here. I hope we just do what Gold did after their ETF got approved. It went on a mini. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Farid says, rephrasing my question. If Riot buys Bitfarms at a share price of $250 in November and Riot's offer is $3, what happens to the 10K investment? 10K investment in Bitfarms. Okay. If Riot buys Bitfarms at shares. Okay, so if they're buying at $250 in November, and then Riot offers $3, what happens to taking an investment in Bitfarms? I mean, you would get the upside of it, but that's going to happen, right? Bitfarms is not going to be sold for $3 per share. They know that they have a lot more value happening here in the next, basically 6 to 12 months. They're not going to be sold. They're not going to sell for $3. You would need possibly an offer of like $6 or $7 at that point, I think, in order for them to sell. But who's going to overpay for that? It just doesn't make any sense there. They can build out much faster or much lower cost than buying somebody else out. Okay. Let's see. Minor Madness is what I call this cycle from January 2024. Yeah. Percentage of your port is in CORZ much lower than others. Are they overvalued? They might not be, right? They're going to have huge huge revenue coming in 2025. Exactly, we don't know when. I'm guessing somewhere between Q2 maybe of next year, and that's going to only increase as they pay off the 300 some odd million, 400 million, whatever it was that CoreWeave gave into retrofit the facilities. And that's going to happen after 2 years, 2.5 years, I believe. So they're going to be more profitable at that point as well. Plus, they are looking still to upgrade their machines, the 86. So, yeah, I don't think they're overvalued right now. I think they may be fairly valued right now, but not overvalued. Okay. Hank the Tank says, Bryce, I'm an XL. When I win the Miner Madness, Night Tank. Farid, thank you, Seb. Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's see what else here. What is the average cost Bitcoin for MicroStrategy? That I don't know. It's got to be probably in the 40s, I think, somewhere around 40,000 something, or 50s even now. I've been buying a lot here recently. David says, I'm selling all my Cleanspark in 2025. Like you, I've been in since 2022, up over 100% at this price, and just waiting for the bigger payout. Okay, so you're in the same boat as I am. Yeah, very nice. I think right now I'm up 165 on Cleanspark right now, 165%. Okay. Bitcoin will rise when everybody shuts the F up about it. Even if people don't shut up about it, it's going to rise. It's going to do whatever it's going to do, regardless, even of who's the president in there or whatnot. Let's see. Based on my current analysis, I believe we could see Bitcoin peak just under 200,000 sometime in the next 18 months. Bradford said that'll likely be a peak, but I do think we'll see a rapid jump. Okay. So like I said, my target was 180,000. This is going back probably a year and a half, 2 years out when I kind of made that analysis based on where Bitcoin was in the past cycles and how much X gains we've seen and how much price went up. So I did some math on it, and might be actually part of the, I don't think it was power law because I'm not that smart to do the power law. But looking at it historically, what it has done and just seeing where it could possibly go, I had it around 80,000. So we'll see how close we get to that. And if you guys have been around with me for a long time, I said the bottom was going to be in Bitcoin this past cycle, or the bear market. I think I had it at 13,500 for the bottom. It came in at what, 15,500 or 15,000, something like that. So it was off by a couple $1,000 on it, which isn't bad. So we'll see. And then I think if we get to 180,000, 200,000 Bitcoin this cycle, we might be coming down, if we have another bear market, like down to the 60,000 mark, somewhere around there, if that's the case. Okay. Let's see. Conservative price prediction of Bitfarms, Digital, Hive, IREN by Xmas 2024. I think Bitcoin by that might be up 40 to 60% if things work out that well. So at that point, I would think the miners would be at least conservatively up 3 to 5x, somewhere around there. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Why does it seem the market has no respect for Bitfarms? What's missing? Pest FUD, really, I think. The issue with the previous CEO as well, suing the company, that's been resolved now, but we just don't know what that cost them on it. And then the FUD in Paraguay about Bitcoin mining bans and things like that, increases in electricity over there as well. There's been just a lot of things that have been kind of like a sledgehammer to the head a little bit when it comes to Bitfarms. So that and Riot, I think. That's the only thing I can really see here, because operationally they're doing very well. They have a new CEO. They got much better board members as well. There's a lot of positive happening for them. Plus the growth they have this year and into next year as well is fantastic. So the only thing I can think of is those things, and Riot still overhang on it. Okay. All right, we're going on for about an hour and 20 minutes here. I think we're going to call it a day. I think I've cut up to all you guys' questions here. So I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. If I see anything else pop up here while I'm closing up here, I will answer it, but I don't see anything else right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow, right? I'm expecting Cleanspark and IREN to report. They usually report within like the first 3 days of the new month. So we will see what they report. Riot also should report either tomorrow or Friday. I would expect them to. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what else happens with the multiple wars that we have going on in the world. What happens there? Russia's threatening nuclear annihilation of everybody else in the world. So we'll see. I hope cooler heads prevail and everything that's going on in the world. But grateful that you guys came in. Grateful for all the questions. You guys definitely make me think, like I say all the time, which is great. I love being kind of contested, pushed a little bit, because then it makes me think as well. So I greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great Thursday. I hope it continues to go up for us. It might be a little bouncy here in the next couple of days, maybe a week or so, but eventually I do expect it to go up if we have a similar cycle. If we don't, then we're going to reevaluate things at that point. All right, but thank you. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.